Hello everyone on YouTube, it's Jordan here again and welcome to another video. Before I get started on the video, I'd like you to say hello to the new mascots here. Let me find them. Here they are. I'm going to call them Bing, Bang and Bong. Now monkeys are my favourite animals of course, but that's not the point of this video. Let me just turn this, let me just get the light on in here. Then again, I've got all my keyboards covering it, so apologies if you can't see it. Let me just turn the fan down. Actually, I'll turn it off for now. Turn it back on later. So with many people working from home these days, laptops are in high demand. But we're going to talk about budget laptops. So this will be the laptop buying guide. So what should you look out for in a laptop? Number one, go for a laptop with at least 8 gigabytes of RAM. Now, the RAM in a computer is really important as it allows you to multitask, if you will. And multitasking is, well, running many programs at once, but it also allows smooth performance, especially in Windows 10, because while Windows 10 can run on 4 gigabytes of RAM, it isn't enough for running the software you might want to run. I mean, look at Microsoft Edge. I've found that Chromium browsers use at least 3 gigabytes of RAM on my Lenovo IdeaPad 320, which is a bit dated for 2021 now. In fact, 4 gigs of RAM, just keep away from a laptop with 4 gigs of RAM. You've no excuse to buy a computer with that much. 8 gigs or more is recommended. The next thing you got to look out for is what brand you're getting the laptop from. So always buy a computer from a reputable brand. And generally, the best brands I could recommend right now, for me, seem to be Lenovo, HP, and possibly Acer. So the IdeaPad 320 sells for £400, but it's no longer sold by Lenovo anymore, and it's a little dated for 2021. What with it having only 4 gigs of RAM and a 1 terabyte hard disk drive, coupled with an AMD Radeon R4, and you simply don't need those specs in 2021. They are not going to help. They will work if you're planning to run Linux on the system though. I mean, a Linux system, for Linux, for me, 2 to 4 gigs of RAM is perfect. 8 gigs of RAM is going overkill for Linux. And the brand of the laptop is pretty important because if you take a look on places like Vere or Studio, you'll often find suspiciously cheap laptops. And these laptops are generally from generic brands. Now, the EGL CS14D02 is an example of a cheap generic brand. Don't go for those computers. They generally don't have any specs worth noting about. They'll usually come with very low storage space, 2 gigs of RAM, usually 2 gigs. And if you're not careful, you may even get pre-installed malware. Happened to me with the EGL CS14D02. Luckily though, Windows Defender removed the virus. So that's something to smile about. But no, that's why I got the IdeaPad 320. Now, the next thing you want to look out for is the storage medium. Now, there are still laptops for sale with hard drives. And hard drives are becoming pretty, let's just say, obsolete. Many people prefer SSDs because of the read and write speed, but you're also going to get smooth performance. Also, it's not just the RAM that it's not just your RAM that determines how well your laptop performs. It's how good your storage medium is, whether you've got a solid state drive. Now, if you want to be able to enjoy your experience, I recommend going for an SSD at least 120 to 512 gigs. So the minimum is 120, maximum is 512. 1 terabyte SSDs, they'll just cost you more. You want to go for an SSD, you don't really need that much storage either. Generally, if you see something with 1 terabyte of storage, it's generally going to be a hard drive anyway, unless you're paying for a really expensive gaming laptop. So, yeah, that sort of thing. So an SSD, there's really no excuse to be buying a hard drive. You really don't want to be buying a computer with a standard hard drive. There's a big difference between a hard drive and a solid state drive. Solid state drives use flash memory, sort of flash storage. Hard drives contain moving parts, and they generally fail after about goodness knows how long. I'm surprised my IdeaPad 320 hasn't failed now. And the Yoga 500 had a hard drive. I believe it was 1 terabyte. It wasn't an SSD. It was a standard hard drive. So the next thing you want to look out for is what software comes with the computer. Now you're gonna get Windows 10 with the majority of computers, but you want to look out for the pre-installed stuff. What do you get?
There are some reminders for the monkey.
Yes, thank you. So what do you get? Well, keep a lookout for additional antivirus programs. Generally, you don't need them. Windows 10 is good at taking care of itself, especially with Windows Defender. But if you're going to be playing a lot of games, or you want the best security, I recommend Avast Antivirus. I mean, anything like McAfee, you usually can't afford those, as it expects you to pay more. But if your computer comes with Microsoft Office, many computers that have Microsoft Office these days will come with a trial of it. But if you've got an Office 365 subscription, you can activate it. So nothing lost there. So look out for any software and that it comes with. A lot of the times you're going to get software that you can use, but if there's any software such as a shampoo burning studio, which you know you're not going to use, which frankly doesn't need to be used on a laptop that doesn't have a DVD drive, I don't know why they even put it there. I mean, some software companies, they'll want people to start using the software when they buy the computer. They're telling the PC manufacturer to install it. And that's common between Norton and McAfee. And you know how much I don't like commercial antivirus. I prefer either Avast or Windows Defender. The choice is up to you. But just don't use any of the pre-installed stuff that comes with your computer. That doesn't come part of the standard Windows 10 installation in the first place. And speaking of Windows 10, look out for the version of Windows 10 it runs. If the computer has Windows 10 Pro, then it's suitable for businesses. If the computer has Windows 10 Home, 9 out of 10, the majority of consumer budget-oriented laptops will. You'll get Windows 10 Home. And if you're going to be buying a business-oriented laptop, then it will have Windows 10 Pro. So look out for that. sort of thing. Now, Windows 10 is a pretty solid operating system and is gonna be updated for a very long time. I mean, speaking of, and well, we'll cover different versions in a bit, but I reckon going for a computer that was manufactured in the last few months or so, because when it comes to supported Windows 10 editions, they don't last a year. I mean, in December last year, the 1909 update and the 1903 updates were recently halted support. So if you get something with that, it's generally, you'll have to update it, which is going to take a while. You want to get a quick and easy notebook that you can use, that you can have fun on, that you can be productive on, that sort of thing. And that's it for my laptop buying guide. If I missed anything out, let me know in the comments. This is Jordan signing off saying have a good day everyone.
Stop recording.